Call regular council meeting to order, 7 o'clock, December the 2nd. Any additions to the agenda this evening?
I don't have anything.
Council has no
We need to take
additions?
the 30-minute off of there.
Yeah.
I'd make a motion to remove the 30-minute executive session since
Motion.
Greg is unavailable.
Second.
Motion on the table, and second by Mark Bryant. All in favor? All opposed, passes 4-0. But it shows Sarah Wolf being sick. Citizen comments, any citizen comments? Don't look like there's any comments. Moving on. Water well test results, that'd be on the water well that we done some testing on. At this time, I'll turn it over to Ned and let him tell you what he's found.
Good evening, Ned.
How we doing?
Good.
Good. We found more of the same.
Okay.
It's pulled an additional round of samples off of the city wells and all the monitoring wells that are out there. And as we've seen in the past, they continue to go up. Some of them have dropped just a little bit, but they're still way over the acceptable level. And then we also sampled the irrigation well. We sampled it at the 60-foot level, and then we went on down with the ductor pipe and airlifted it for an hour at the 100-foot level. About 250, 300 gallon a minute. Make a lot of water. And both of those were, well, the top one was 14.8 and the bottom one was 14.5 on nitrates, which is 4.5 over the limit.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
That's all the issue.
right in line with what we're seeing out there. We do have some of the monitoring wells at well 6. The intermediate is consistently under 10. It's still up. I mean, it's double from what it was in 17, but it's down a little bit from what it was in 24, but not much. I mean, that's barely statistical. But so we're seeing that intermediate zone become invaded. And this is fertilizer, plain and simple. I have so many of these projects, and I've worked with so many facilities that I have a third of my projects that are nitrate related are urban, football fields, still fertilizer, lawn and garden, that sort of stuff. A third of them are ag related, that are truly from ag fields, and a third of them are from contaminated co-op facilities or chemical facilities, not necessarily co-ops, but any of the chemical facilities. There's only 2 kinds of fertilizer plants, those that have problems and those that haven't been built yet. It's containment issues and housekeeping. And a lot of the stuff that happens, they're not doing it on purpose, they just don't know any better on some of that stuff. And we see material get dumped on the ground that agronomically it's nothing, but at that location, when they do it 10 times a week, it becomes a contamination source, and it becomes a pretty impacted area that has to be cleaned up, and it's not cheap to do. We have seen an increase in the nitrates at well 8, which is the west new well at the treatment plant. And we've also seen a slight increase at well 7. Well 7, Jason, I forgot to ask you, has that pump been worked on yet? Is it?
Yeah, we had it worked on, and then it started messing up again.
Oh, really?
And then we're gonna have it worked on after the first of the year again.
Okay, so 7's not getting pumped much, and 8's getting pumped quite a bit. So that's probably an impact there. One of the things that we are seeing is that KDHE has finally recognized that something's going to have to be done. I don't normally go to the governor's conference, but they had quite a bit of time spent on nitrates at the governor's conference. And their philosophy is it's all ag. I had to correct a few of them. I said, no, it's fertilizer. It doesn't make any difference what the use is, it's fertilizer, the vast majority of it. We can have some sites that are impacted by livestock facilities. We can have some sites that are impacted by septic systems and lagoons. There's a reason we don't go, when we go searching for new water, we don't go downstream of housing developments that have septic systems. There's a reason for that. And that's because they're contributors. They're recharge structures, and they put a lot of poor quality water in groundwater at those facilities. And that's the reason we don't go downstream of city wastewater lagoons, is because they leak.
Okay.
That's a lagoon that's designed to leak. As I have said before, lagoons are like pipelines, like storage tanks. There's only two kinds, those that leak and those that are gonna leak eventually. And it happens. And the problem we have is that it invariably, when it happens, it catches the people that are involved unaware. And then they're in panic mode. And it's usually after they've had a catastrophic release, usually. I worked with one city that the ag facility had an in-ground fertilizer storage pit, lined pit, and it was doing great. Didn't have any trouble with it at all until the gophers shoot a hole through the liner. And it leaked, and it caused a lot of problems,
So what are our
a
next
lot of
steps?
information here.
Yeah.
Still have the iron problem inside the plant as well as in the pipelines. And so the options the city has are, we can get real aggressive on the well field and start working with the citizens as well as the landowners around the well fields as far as eliminating the nitrates. That can be a interesting time.
So what are you
worked with some
saying?
landowners that have done that, and they get it, but they don't like it because they want their green grass, or they want extra green crops. There is some money available to offset the loss of production that could be paid out through KDHE, through their source water protection program, water protection unit. As far as cleaning up some of this stuff, it can be done. If it's a contaminated site, DER is having a difficult time getting anything done. I know of several cities that I've worked with that they've had BER sites in them that we couldn't get anything done.
What's a
They just
BER?
didn't- Pardon?
BER, what is that?
Bureau of Environmental Remediation at KDHE.
Okay.
They don't have the people to do it, and they don't have the people that understand the problems, and they can't keep people. And so, and they don't understand that, when you've got a monitoring well that's running 400 milligrams per liter in, you gotta get it out of the ground, and they can't grasp that concept, but I can't fix that. One of the things that we heard a lot of at the governor's conference, and I've been seeing it in publications, is there is a group that would really like to see the nitrate values go to 5. I remember when they went from 20 to 10, and
They cut it in half just like that? Or was it gradual?
Nope.
Okay.
it wasn't gradual at all. And if they go to 5, that will impact, that will take 70 to 80% of the public water supply groundwater systems, put them out of compliance if they go to 5 currently. And one of the things that we know is that these wells didn't have that problem before fertilizer. And I know it sounds like I'm bagging on fertilizer and pounding on them, but it's,
Reality.
yeah, it's no different. It's no different than, we know we didn't have gasoline problems in the aquifer until we started having tanks leaking. And we have, when fertilizer was extremely cheap, there was a tremendous amount of over application just for insurance to get a good crop. I've talked with producers that, well, how deep do you sample? We'll go 2 feet. I've worked on sites and have looked at sites. We push cores to 50 feet, and you can monitor the nitrate front going down through that soil profile. So we know that it gets below the root zone, and it will eventually go to the water. So we can do some testing to verify the sources of the nitrates. We can do a nitrogen isotope. They're a quite expensive test that will either verify whether it's a septic system or animal waste, or if it's from fertilizer. They have a different radiological signature.
Should I back you up for a sec? So when you said just because I'm a pretty simple guy here. So one of the things we can do is go to the individual farmers to ask them to cut back. Is that what you're saying?
Farmers and citizens in town that are irrigating their yard, or fertilizing their yards. You know, we've got a citizen here that's the last time that well was checked was running 16 on nitrates, and the KGS has got a pretty cool little formula. If you take that 16, get my fat fingers to work here, take that 16 times 30 inches, roughly 30 inches of water, and take that times 0.227, that's 109 pounds of N per acre. That's coming just off of the well for that yard. And I know he irrigates that yard, and he goes out and fertilizes it, and then he waters it in, and because that yard is saturated, it just pushes it right on down, and that becomes a point source, if you will. We see them at golf courses, we see them at football fields. We fixed Cunningham's problem by stopping the fertilizer on that field, and they then used the high nitrate well as much as they could to water the football field. And when they mowed, they hauled the grass off, because that's 25% of the nitrogen load back to the system, back to the field.
Okay.
And in 4 years' time, we had them back in compliance.
Do you know anything about how long the process is for, if we get some farmers to agree to cut back on fertilizer, how long that process is for them to get reimbursed? Or is it a first come, first serve to get this money reimbursed?
Well, that's a real good question, Aaron, and we'd have to go through KDHE to find that out.
Okay.
I would expect the monies would be readily available
Okay.
through that project or process, but that's something we will have to get with KDHE to find that out. Then the other issue that we have, the city has, is the degradation of the wells because of the infrastructure corrosion inside the infrastructure, which is leading to iron issues that's going to the plant. You know, we had that bag filter that was done, and we had an ATP count of 2.4 million. And that's typically what we see. We assign a 1 ATP per bacteria, typically. And that did not really surprise me, for the simple fact that the bag filter would act as an accumulator to a certain extent. Even though that is a 100 micron filter bag, it's still going to pick up the big chunks, which it did. And those big chunks are going to continue to feed any bacteria that's in that bag filter. And then, but the bulk of the bacteria would pass on through that bag filter. And as what we're seeing in the plant, it affects the media as well as the plumbing inside the plant. And when we do samples to pull the bacteria out of the water sample, we run them through a 0.45 micron filter to catch that bacteria, to take them out of the water before we test the water on the back side of that filter to see what impact we're having then on
So I got another question for you. So if we go out, because before this testing started, we want to do this to alleviate going to buy land or test. What would you, does this have to get, what you're mentioning now with cutting back on the fertilizer, does that have to be fixed first before we go find another well that eventually
No,
we could be
no,
running
no.
into the same thing?
No.
Okay.
So, but when we go look for that other well, we look for ground that we don't have those problems. And historically, I never really recommended that the city or rural water district buy the ground. Right now, I think it's paramount that they do, that the city does own the ground. And the reason for that is just like at well 7 and 8 and the plant site, you own that ground, you can control what goes on. We're seeing other ag chemicals show up in the groundwater. They're not regulated, but they are starting to show up. And so, as I said before, historically, we didn't have these problems. Commercial fertilizer really didn't come into play until mid-50s, and then really became prevalent in the 60s. But there was a lot of wells out here that did not have nitrate problems because we didn't have the sources around them, other than some of them were getting some livestock runoff, and we've had a few of those that we've dealt with in the past. But if you control the ground, then you eliminate that source from getting on the ground.
Ned, on that, how much area around the well would you need to control?
And that's all a function of the aquifer. That would have to be determined from pump tests and monitoring wells to look at that. But I suspect we're looking at wells. Let's just take well 6 for example. You're probably looking at an area that would reach downstream of that well 300 to 400 feet, because that would pull that water back on a long pumping day. That would pull that water in that area back to it. At some point in time, we're going to have an area downstream of the well. It's called a zone of stagnation. That doesn't make any difference how long the well runs or how much it pulls. It's not going to pull that back. And the same way on the sides, it's not going to pull it in. There's a zone of stagnation out there. But everything that is in that area of influence for that well is going to be a contributor. So we're probably looking at 300 to 400 feet downstream, maybe 500-600 feet on each side, and maybe a mile upstream from that well. And the reason for that is time of travel. Typically in the sand and gravel aquifer that we're working in, time of travel in sand and gravel aquifers is 1.5 to 2 feet, depending upon where we're at per day. So that water's continuously moving per day. And then as you get closer to the pumping well, that water speeds up because of the change of the tone of depression. That creates a change in the dynamics of that aquifer, and those characteristics of that aquifer allows that water to speed up so it can supply the well and become recharged. That becomes a recharge area for that well. Historically, the Source Water Protection Program, which we worked with some of the very first ones ever done in the state way back in the 1900s, and we looked at KDHE requires right now 100 feet around the wells, sanitary easement, and then we would look at 2 years, 5 years, and 10-year time of travels going to those wells. And 10 years sounds like a long ways, and in some aquifers it is, depending upon the aquifer. But in sand and gravel aquifers, you're only looking at 3,650 feet.
Okay.
Time of travel at a foot per day. At 1.5 feet per day, you're looking at 5,000 feet. So, you're still looking at about a mile up gradient.
Are you saying the city should own a mile, or the city should control a mile based on, should ask those landowners to control the nitrate usage for that mile? Because I think it's unrealistic for the city to go out and buy.
You can still rent it out, just like you do the plant site. You can still lease it out, and if they're not paying the taxes on it, they can, there'll be people tell you it'll never work. I guarantee you they'll tell you it never worked. But we know guys that do it all the time. We've got organic farmers that are very stingy with their fertilizer, they're doing regenerative farming, they're doing some different things there, and they're making it work. Are they doing 300 bushel corn per acre? No, they're not.
Well, as far as the
They don't have the
city,
inputs either.
I'm just thinking in the city, I mean, are you saying possibly our football field is part of the problem?
Possibly.
So what, I mean, wouldn't it just be cheaper just to go AstroTurf long-term?
That's a good question. We could find out, do some sampling on this, on the wells that are out there. I know well 3 is up, as well as the turf grass from the baseball field. I don't know what they're doing there. I don't know what the rec commission's doing there. But well 3 has gone up. I know the city put in an irrigation well and has stopped the fertilizer out there. Because they were, at one time, they were sending the water to the, from the city well to the nitrate removal plant to pull the fertilizer out, to send it back to the park to water in the fertilizer. So we got that stopped, but it's still going up, and I don't know where those are coming from. That would take a set of some monitoring, site zone-specific monitoring wells, as well as sampling the school wells that are there.
Well,
And
speaking
part
of,
of that is well construction. One of the things we see with well construction on the city wells are a prime example. They're just too much gravel pack in the borehole, and it intersects that borehole and it goes down. When that well kicks on, it creates a cone of depression, and because that cone of depression is hydraulically connected through the borehole, through the sand and gravel in that borehole, it'll reach up and grab those upper nitrates out of the upper portion of the aquifer and pull it down. I think that's one reason that the intermediate well at 6-2 is under 10. And it was originally 4.8. But I think that's the reason that stays under 10 is because it's hydraulically disconnected from the upper aquifer because we have that well grouted correctly. And that was in KDHE in 1947 in their when KDHE was State Board of Health, put out a publication on wells and groundwater. And in that, in 1947, they said that a deep well is no safer than a shallow well if the upper zones and the upper aquifers are not sealed off. That was true in 1947, and it is still true today. You know, the biggest problem we have is it's not enforced. Those regulations are in place to protect these wells, and in reality to protect the cities, and they're just not enforced, and the wells are not being put in correctly.
There's no way to fix that though on the current wells, right? There is a way to fix that on the current
Yeah,
wells.
we can go in and do perforations on that casing and basically grout them off with a cement slurry. We actually did that at Protection. We had a well that we offset with a new well, and as I told them, we're gonna put a liner in it. We were gonna do that and put a liner, perforate the casing and put a liner in it, but I couldn't guarantee them they weren't gonna lose production, and they didn't wanna lose production. So we offset and drilled a new well, sealed all the upper water out, and we went in in the old well, and we run a Mills knife, the contractor run a Mills knife into that casing and cut slots in that casing all the way around at different intervals, and then we cemented that off with neat cement, with a real thin slurry of cement, shut that gravel pack off on the back side across the confining unit. And what we did with that study is actually that deeper aquifer had a higher head on it. It had higher pressure on it. And what we found out was when that well was at rest and not being pumped, that the lower zone had a higher head on it, had higher pressure, and it would actually push fresh water up the borehole and reach out. We had an observation well, monitoring well, about 12, 15 feet away, and it would clean up. And then when we pumped that well, we reversed that, and the monitoring well would start getting dirty, and then the nitrates would start up in the city well. That well had hit, I think that well had hit 40 at one time, and would consistently in operation run 14 to 16. But we've offset that, and we shut that flow off on that because the new well next to it, if we did not shut that well bore off, all we were gonna do was suck it to us. And I checked that well the other day on Water Watch, and it was 2.3, I think, on nitrates. And we did that in 2000.
Is that a possibility for well 6?
That is a possibility, I think. But I still think we're gonna have to cut back on production quite a little bit as well, because we can actually pull it through the clay layers if we pull too hard. And it won't be cheap to do. It won't
Well,
be cheap
it's
to do.
gonna be more expensive down the road, right?
Yeah,
So we gotta, I appreciate you saying that, but we gotta
yeah.
have a plan of action and get going.
I guess my question is if we fix the construction of the well and we seal off the upper zones on a current well that's already producing 16 nitrates, will you see a decrease in nitrates, or are you just like putting a Band-Aid, is it a really expensive Band-Aid and you still have high nitrates?
You've got a real expensive Band-Aid right now in a treatment plant.
Well, yes,
Yeah,
but
that's, I can't guarantee it's gonna work, Aaron, and the reason,
I guess
I'm not recommending it
leading
right
to the
now,
question of
because
the amount that it costs to do that.
the amount that costs.
You would
to do-
rather drill a new well that already doesn't have a nitrate problem to begin with, and then build it properly, and you have a better water source.
Absolutely, and the other reason is, you've got well 4 out there that is marginally constructed and marginally plugged. That's a conduit, and I don't know how many other test holes have been drilled in that area. I know there's been some. When Clark when they did the replacement well, I know there was a test hole drilled out there, probably not grouted, as we would grout them today.
So is that like a best option as far as like the area to get a new well, or?
An option, if you want to retain well 6, an option would be to go south and south. I would say probably 500-600 feet, or go down to the road and put in some observation wells and see exactly what you have there. And there may be an option there, but get away from that cluster of wells that are conduits. Okay, and get into some ground that we know that we don't have a lot of holes in, because they are conduits and we see it all the time.
Is that out of the Rattlesnake Creek Basin?
No, you're still in the Rattlesnake Creek Basin, and that's part of the problem. It would be ideal to move the wells out of the basin while you can, because right now we can do that. Well 5 could be moved down to, let's see, this is the railroad tracks. Yeah, this is the railroad track. There's a tract of land right here that is outside of the 2 miles. And this is all grass. Part of this is grass, and then there's a pivot. That may be an option, because well 5, where it is, it's landlocked. It's sitting in between a garage and a house.
We own a piece of ground over there, don't we?
Just that area where the well house is.
Oh, there's a well over there.
Yeah, well 5, you own a piece of ground at well 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's landlocked, and
Yeah.
it doesn't even have the 100-foot sanitary easement at all.
Yeah, that's high on there.
Yeah.
So how far would you have to be? Is that one also improperly built?
Yes.
So how far would you have to be from that to not be it be a conduit?
Upgradient, I'd like to be 500-600 feet away from it.
We don't have room, not where
Now-
it's at right now.
And once we're done, if it works out that we can replace well 5, then when we go in, we're gonna destroy that well. And we're gonna shut that pathway off. And that eliminates then the city's liability from that well. This is not just one simple pinpoint problem. It is a multitude of issues that we're dealing with on this system. The other thing that we're eventually going to have to do is clean up the pipelines. But it doesn't do any good to clean up the pipelines if you got a well that's still puking iron scale out into the pipeline. I'm working with a system up north, it's a RO plant to pull the hardness out of the water, and they started getting iron and manganese in their wells. And it was from, the iron was from the wells falling apart. Scale on the inside of the wells, and we've got a liner put in it, which we can control the inside, but I can't control the backside. I can't get anything to the backside of that would control the corrosion on the backside of that casing without damaging the aquifer or the well to the point it probably won't produce. So what we're doing with that treatment plant is they are, whenever they treat the well, then they send that chlorinated water and pigs down their pipeline, and they're pushing that out before it gets to their treatment plant. And when we sampled that before they started that process, they were at 1.1 million on ATP count and had a lot of iron bacteria in it. And what it is, it's the scale that gets pushed out into the system, and when the system shuts down, it drops down in the pipeline. It lays down in the bottom of that pipeline, and the iron bacteria and what other bacteria that they find, it falls in love, and they start holding hands, and the next thing you know, we got a breeding ground in these pipelines. And that's one of the things that happens. And so when I design wells, we don't have low carbon steel in the well design at all, none. And we eliminate that issue. So we'll still have to, even though we do that on a new well, but we're putting it in that pipeline, we're still going to have to clean up that pipeline eventually. But to do it now, before we fix the wells,
Waste of money.
yeah, I think it is. And I think, Jason, you were saying that you had to turn the plant down on regen numbers?
Yes.
And that's probably due to the iron already affecting the new media.
So what's our next step? I mean, you're our expert. What would you recommend us to do?
I would recommend at this point in time to look at, ideally, we want to stay as close as we can, but still not create a problem. Put some observation wells in this area if we can get access from the landowner. And if we can, then that can be piped to well 5, to that piping system there, and see if that is an option. The other one would be to look south and west of, you go straight south of well 6 along the road, out here on the west edge of town, and see if there's better quality water out there. One of the things we run into, a deep aquifer at well 6 is high in chlorides and sulfates, but we pumped from 100 foot in that irrigation well, and we didn't have the salt water and the sulfates. So there's something out there close to well 6. There's a hole somewhere that's gone deep, and I don't know if it's an anhydrite test hole or what that is, that appears to be leaking into the bottom end of the aquifer. It could be naturally occurring out of the Cedar Hills in that area, but that lower portion of the aquifer at well 6 is impacted by chlorides and sulfates.
How
And to the
far,
point we can't use it.
how far south and west do we need to go?
I would stay right along the blacktop,
Like First Street?
going out of town.
Okay.
Is that First Street?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
First Street.
Yeah, First Street. I would stay, try to stay away from as much of the housing as we can. I'd get out here 300, 400, 500 feet west.
So like
I
by
know that's
Fisher's
a,
shop?
That's a bulk storage tank, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we might want to stay away from that. also.
So do we need to go further south then? Cause that's all, you know, like farm ground too.
I would have to look.
Okay.
I would have to look at some different areas to see and make some recommendations. I can guess, but, I think right now, well, 3, you're landlocked there, you can't even get a 100-foot sanitary easement as well on that one. We have put them in city parks before. We've had to do battle with KDHE on it, just for the simple fact that they didn't like the basketball court that was inside the 100-foot sanitary easement. They didn't like that. And I said, man, it's no different than the concrete pad and steel post we're gonna put around this well. It's a concrete pad and steel post, it's not a contamination source. And, so they got a chance to punish the city and made them put a 100-foot radius pipe fence around that well.
Ned, what can we do to help on these other wells to get help with that, iron problem?
We'd have to, Jason, we could shut it off on the inside. I can't shut it off on the outside of the casing. That's the problem. Is we can slow it down on the inside with liners, but I can't shut it off on the outside. Now, we could put liners in them and that would help.
So that would be a Rosencrantz thing, correct?
Yeah, they could do the work.
Alright, well, give me a list on that so I can see what that would cost.
But it won't, like he was just saying, it won't help if we do that and we still pull in water,
It will
the same water.
help initially on the inside.
Okay.
And it will stop the big scale that's going out to the pipeline. Should. But what it won't do is it won't stop the corrosion, galvanic corrosion primarily on the outside of the casing. It won't stop that.
Okay.
And that's because of the dissimilar metals, the low carbon steel casing and the stainless steel screen. So, the bad part is there's wells today being put in just like that, in poor quality water. And it drives me nuts to think that they're doing that kind of material selection, but they
So
are.
what he recommended there, who would contact the owner, is that to
Probably
see,
have to be the city, be
So-
us.
you know, can we check who owns it and approach them and see if they're willing?
So
Would that
you
be the
just-
first step, right?
Sure, if they're not willing for us to be in there,
We have a plan B.
plan B, yeah.
So we're asking their permission to see if we can test the like drill a well and
Drill
test
monitored
the
wells.
water.
Yeah,
Okay.
test the water, observational wells,
How far away from Rattlesnake Creek do you have to be out of the basin?
2 miles,
2 miles.
2 mile corridor. We can go east of town and get out of it. There's some pasture ground east of town that may be an option.
Could you just, I don't know, it might help me just visually, at some point throw a map together that showed that corridor and then showed our existing well sites in town?
Yes, I did that.
Do we,
It's been a while back, but I've sent that, we talked
I
about that
can
at
search
one of the
back
meetings.
through my emails and see if I've got one.
I can send it again. That gives us an idea on that.
As far as if we get permission, how fast is this process of getting a test well drilled?
Oh, that's the $64,000 question. They're all covered up with work, as well as I am. I mean, it's, I would hope that we could have the, wells in by March, maybe, April, maybe. Then a lot of that's gonna depend on the weather.
Okay.
You know, if we keep getting these rains and snows, it's gonna make it pretty difficult. And we get that polar vortex moves in and it goes sub-zero, they're not gonna get out. And I don't blame them because you can't keep them running.
Okay.
Can't keep them from icing up.
What do you tell you know, like say somebody's watches the video or is paying attention to, like a citizen that's paying attention to our water problem, and they, like the assumption is we have this, you know, nitrate plant that's supposed to solve everything. You know, that could be the mindset. So what do you tell somebody that says, is the response the nitrate problem is just growing enough that the treatment facility is not going to be able to do enough to keep our levels low? I mean, is that basically where we're at, or is that how you would
Well, as we continue to degrade the media in the plant with the iron issues, then they become less effective, and the regen has to happen more often. And as the nitrates go up in the well fields, then the regeneration process has to increase as well. Right now, you're in compliance, right?
We're in compliance now.
And we're able to get good water to town. That's the important thing, is we're able to take the nitrates out of the water. One of these magic bullets that KDHE approved on all this stuff is one of the reasons KDHE pushed treatment plants is the guys would have to go out and check every well and take readings and measurements and chlorine readings off of each well and have to report that. Well, that's now 5 wells, 6 wells, 7 wells, depending upon the city, paperwork that has to go to KDHE and be reviewed. Well, now it all goes to the treatment plant, and there's a POE, point of entry, off of that treatment plant that goes to the system, and that's the only place it's tested. And so that takes their workload down. And that's one of the reasons they pushed a lot of these treatment plants, is to decrease the number of POEs that they had to review. And so it's, as the nitrates go up and as the iron issues continue to increase in the facility, then the plant's gonna have to run more. And then the other issue we have there is the plant runs more, that puts more salt water out into the lagoons, and eventually you will run out of lagoons.
So I feel like that's, you know, if you haven't looked into it, that's the easy answer. If you're, you know what I mean?
Right.
We have the nitrate plant, so why are we having
Right,
nitrate
exactly.
issues?
Why do we have a nitrate problem? It's because they continue to go up in the well field, and you can't overrun a plant. We're not to that point yet.
Right.
But eventually, as the media degrades, then that's going to take another media swap out. You know, you're looking at 4 loads of salt this year coming up.
Oh, I'm gonna ask for another one tonight.
Okay, so you know, there's how much?
67.
6,700. That won't get any cheaper. What was the first one? Do you remember?
Like 5.
How much?
5,000.
5,000. Yeah, so that's going to go up. So that's $25,000 a year just in salt. And then you're looking at on your media swap out. How much was that?
200 something.
200,000.
200,000 to swap the media out
Something like
for
that. 212 maybe.
12 years.
So with the way we're going, how
So-
long would it take for us to have to do the new round of swapping out the medias?
That's a good question. I can't answer that because I don't have the data. I don't know how degraded the media already is. We can get samples of it, and we can send it in and have it looked at, but I don't know. That's something that,
So the degrading components is the iron and the nitrate that being put in there?
the
or-
nitrates don't degrade the media.
It's the iron.
The iron degrades the media because it coats and in that one report I sent, it coats the media, the bead itself,
Okay.
to where it ties it up and it won't let the nitrates attach. The other thing that we see, you don't have this problem, the city of St. John doesn't have this problem, but the other thing we see is systems that have high nitrate wells and low sulfates. When they send that water to the treatment plant, it pulls the nitrates out. And when they swap over to their high nitrate, high sulfate wells, the media plant looks at those sulfates and go, oh, cool, here's dessert. And it throws the nitrate off of the media and takes the sulfate.
Oh,
So it actually puts more nitrates back out into the system. So I'm working with a system that has that issue, and our fix there is balance the wells out. High sulfate, low sulfate wells pumped together. Then when they switch, high sulfate, low sulfate wells pumped together. So we send basically the same quality water to the treatment plants.
so if we have plan or maintenance plan to get the wells clean of irons, that would help prolong the life of the medians. Is that correct?
Yes, it would slow down the degradation process, but we've got to shut off the scale coming off the inside of the wells. And we have to then get the pipeline cleaned up.
Okay.
So that's gonna have to be pigged. And I think the pipelines are pretty uniform in diameter. But you don't have landing and loading ports on any of that, do you? Ice pigging is an option. It's expensive to do, but if it offsets the need for digging holes and tying into the pipeline. As far as you go in at the well site, you pump into the existing pipeline, and ice pig comes through the pipeline, and then it comes out at the discharge at the plant site at that flush hydrant. It can come out there. Should be able to. That would have to, we would have to get the people that do that to come look at that and get a quote, if that's what you wanna do.
I mean, we'll probably need to looking at least get some of the iron cleanup just to help prolong the life of those medias, cause that's pretty expensive. That's a big chunk of our budget, but
Yeah, so, you gotta be setting that money back every month,
yeah.
so, yeah,
What's
or every year, anyway.
do you know the average amount it would cost to get some of those iron cleaned up?
On the wells themselves, I would suspect we're probably looking at 12 to 15,000 per well from the contractor.
Okay.
And now we're gonna have to put a work plan together and get it pre-approved by KDHE. Historically, the KDHE never looked at this, repairs and maintenance on these. Well, now they have figured out that for some reason they need to do that. So we're gonna have to put a plan together, just like we would for a new well, and get that sent in and get it pre-approved before we could do anything.
Is
So,
there a well that needed more than others, like that we have? All of our wells probably needed it, but is there one that urgently needed right away to be done? Since it,
well, I know we
probably
had
never-
camera down well 3, it's scaling pretty bad. This was years ago. We have that video, but we never ran a video on well 6. But I have the pictures of all of the debris that's on the column pipe that come out. And so, well 6 is in bad shape also. And I would assume that well 5, because it has low carbon steel casing and low carbon steel column pipe on that pump, that's a line shaft turbine pump, so all of that material in that hole is gonna be low carbon steel. So not only do we have the corrosion and scale coming off of the well casing, but it would also be coming off of the pipe.
so well 3 is, or you said well 3, right? Or 5? That well that you just talked about.
Yeah, well 5,
Five.
they're all bad.
Okay, so
Pam, I'm gonna tell you, they're all bad for the simple fact that nothing's been done to them.
sure, yeah.
Unfortunately, that
Yeah.
it's,
Well, we gotta start somewhere.
Yeah, but where?
I mean, I think 15,000 to get it cleaned up. That's just the cleaning. Then you have to get it lined, right?
yeah, and I'm not gonna speak for Rosencrantz Bemis. Did you get a bill from the airlifting? that they did?
Yes.
Okay, what'd that run?
I can't remember, I'm sorry.
It's not,
I
this
just
is
looked.
it.
I'm guessing
No.
It's not in this.
$1,200-$1,300 would be my guess is what that was.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I was hoping it wasn't gonna be terrible, but,
So you're saying the lining process is gonna be around that same price? I'm not holding you to any.
no, I would, gonna depend on what we have to do, Aaron.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know yet what we have to do. That's gonna take a pump pull, that's gonna take a, downhole video. We have the downhole video on well 3, and, but the ones that we pull apart, we're gonna have to look at. And I'm not gonna guarantee this, but more than likely, when we pull well 5 out, it's gonna be cut gas axe on the bolts. That's not gonna come apart very good. That well, I don't know when the last time, Jason, do you know when that well was pulled?
No.
Anytime? Yeah, I suspect that's gonna be cut apart, cut out with a torch, to get it out. So that's gonna require either a new, submersible or line shaft turbine parts. Assembly. Pros and cons both ways. Typically,
Well-
the line shaft turbines, as we see with well 5, lasts a long time. They'll typically run 20 to 30 years, as long as everything is, as long as they run reasonable. And submersible pumps, the industry average is about 7 years before they start failing.
Okay, well, you've given us a lot of information.
Yeah.
I'm just asking for an action plan now from you.
What is our very, very first step we need to do? That's
I
the
mean,
thing.
not, you don't have to answer now, just get
Yeah.
it in writing, think about it, and then we need to make some decisions.
Yeah,
'Cause
absolutely.
I say we need to get started on it quickly.
If we fix the wells and we don't fix the nitrate problem, you're still in trouble. You're still fighting.
Well, hopefully, we can, at the same time, ask some landowners if there's a possibility they'd be interested in helping the city out.
Well, and then that we need to reach out to KDHE
Yeah,
to
and
help do
get
that.
the
See if we can
approval
get
and
funding
all
to
that
help
stuff.
do that.
Can you remind me from the meeting we had with GMD5, because I think that's where that image was of the Rattlesnake Creek Basin
Yes.
with all of our well sites. And I think I just had a print off of it. I couldn't find it in my email. I was looking. But what's the distance that without a waiver you can trade water rights on the same well? What's that radius?
Typically, they look at half a mile, depending upon the district and depending upon where we're at in the state of Kansas.
Okay.
They want it to stay in the same, source of supply. But with the Rattlesnake Creek, they're making exceptions, and we could move that as long as we get it out of the boundaries of the Rattlesnake Creek. We could move those wells 3, 4, 5 miles, depending upon what we need to do.
Okay.
And they have been very agreeable to do that because they want it out of the Rattlesnake Creek Basin.
And that's trading water rights.
No, that's moving the existing water right. No, it's not. Yeah, we
For
would
the new well,
Yeah,
you
we'd
would
move the-
remove a well.
we would move. So if we can offset 5 to the south, then basically we would move 6 to well 5, and then we would move well 5 out,
And 6 would be kept.
and 6 would be kept. And then we would have to look at a place to put well 3 and get it moved out as well. But ideally, that would be if that works on that piece of property. And the reason I've looked at that is because it's grass on the south side of the railroad tracks.
But we
Now-
have to bore the railroad.
No, we'll stay on the north side of the tracks.
Oh, okay.
Buy ground cheaper than you can buy borings on railroads.
No, I didn't, we've got our own issues with railroad and the roads, but
Yeah.
it's, yeah.
So it's a multifaceted problem that's not going to have any real simple, easy answers. With the exception of if we could move out and find good, clean water, lay a new line to town, lay it right to the treatment plant, so that it goes right into the treatment plant as well. And then the treatment plant becomes a blending plant. If we can do that.
Which it already is currently, sort of.
Yeah, it is, and that's
It
the only
just
way
has
it
to be
works.
treated as it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, once it gets into the plant, then it gets treated, goes into the storage, and so it gets blended there, because only a portion of the water that we send to the plant, only a portion of that water actually goes through the vessels. The rest of it bypasses and goes directly into storage tanks. So,
Let's hope it's 80-20.
pardon?
Let's hope at the end of this whole thing, it's like maybe 80-20, 90-10.
Well, I know of a city that put a treatment plant in, and come to find out, they only had one bad well. And the question that was put back to the regulatory agency is, why did you make us put a plant in when all we had to do was lay a pipeline? So, well, you guys sent this in. You know, we really didn't have any control over it. And the response that I heard was that, hey, you're stamping signatures all over this at the regulatory level. It's,
I guess
if you have to take charge of your water, and that's it. The city has to take control of your water supplies. And if I can help you do that, great.
the follow-up, I guess, are there grant resources for new well projects like this to fix your supply?
Yes, there are, but we're probably gonna have to get an engineering firm involved. And.
We'll probably have to anyways if
Yeah,
we're gonna drill a
eventually
new
we will
well
have to
and
do
lay a
that,
pipeline.
yeah.
I mean,
Eventually we will, so that's the next step the city would probably wanna do is start looking at, engineering firms to help with that.
All I see is dollar signs.
oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot of information to digest. It's a lot of things to think about. You've given council quite a bit, so we appreciate that. I mean, we need, but.
Oh, I
we need to
understand.
start
Yeah,
making-
I
we need to start
get it.
making some decisions
Yeah,
now, so.
yeah, I get it, it's,
Yeah, you know, Pratt, I know in the last 2 years, they just did a new well and they got a grant for it. Have you been keeping up with that at all?
I haven't,
No.
uh,
I know they got a
they've
grant, but I
high-
think it was like 2 years before.
They got a high nitrate problem in the
Yeah.
south end of town,
By the
that's
time
all,
they drilled it, the grant was approved. I mean, it was a process.
yeah, that's all coming off of town more than likely. We've seen it, we worked with some cities that, actually was working with a producer of an ag facility, and KDHE went after them for the high nitrates, and I thought, man, this does not make sense. The numbers did not make sense, and we got to looking, and the city well went out of service 5 to 7 years before the fertilizer plant was even built. And I don't know where the nitrates came from up there. I don't know if that was from local spillage on the farm site or what, but they went after the cooperative to do all this work in the city, and I said, man, that's not ours. You know, it's not the co-ops. And then they, in their studies, they had identified a bunch of cesspools in town
Okay.
that were contributing to the city well in town, because the co-op facility was, this was a small well, pumped 35 gallon a minute for 2 hours a day, so it did not have a big Kona depression. And the co-op facility was 1,000, 1,500 feet south of that, so it was down gradient to that. It wasn't gonna come back. They weren't gonna pull that back. So it's, I've worn both hats to a certain extent, and then I've had co-op facilities that I've just had to look them in the eye and say, get ready, because this is gonna be expensive. Brewster, we took the high nitrate well, we had a place that could use it. They went to the football field with the water off the high nitrate well into the, they had a steam flake plant that could take that high nitrate water, so sent that to them, and that took the strain off of the good wells. And then we put a new well in northwest of town, and we moved it quite a ways. We moved it 2,600, almost half a mile.
Okay.
And DWR and the GMD up there were in on helping us get that done, so, and we got them good clean water, and they've been pumping that other well, and they're now, historically, they would hit 8, 9, 10, 11, and now everything has been under 7 for several rounds of samples, so it takes time to get it cleaned up, but it can happen. It's just kind of like cold.
Well, you know what I'm thinking? I know you're in demand, and I just think we need to get something going here. Like, we got to get Ned on something. We need to know what we need to do, and we'd like to know what you're going to be doing for us in the meantime. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because your time's valuable, and you're going to just be booking yourself out, and we're going to be further out. So what do you guys think we should do here?
Yeah, we just need to look into it.
Yeah,
It's not,
exactly.
it's gonna take a lot of time.
Did we,
I mean, I'm thinking like 2 years.
Yeah,
No.
it's gonna be
It's
years.
gonna take some time, period. I mean,
Yeah.
There's no ands, ifs, or buts
I
about it.
just like keeping
If we
things
had a
moving.
place to go today,
Yeah.
if we had a place to go today, we knew we had good quality water, or we thought we had good quality water, and we started testing, you're looking at 2 years minimum before you're gonna have a well in place.
Okay. Well, we need
was,
make some
was
phone
it
calls.
the Kansas Water Office that has the grants that, was Orrin talking about that?
I don't know.
Where they're,
What's that again? Kansas Water what?
Kansas Water Office or,
I know they have several grants that are available, and they do a yearly selection on those, and I've seen those, you know, work with systems that have applied, but they can easily get overrun on their grant side, that they get more.
Do you know anybody in Pratt? I know it's been within 2 years they had that grant.
yeah, I can,
Yeah. I just had to go to a city council meeting.
yeah.
The engineering firm or whoever was talking about it. Well, we're gonna sleep good tonight.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't got anything else, Ned, thank you so much.
Any other questions?
No, you've answered
Yeah.
Okay.
a lot.
Well, that's, you know, I bring 40-some years of experience to the system. Seen a lot of stuff. One of the things, that reminds me, one of the things that we're seeing is a system up north, ion exchange plant. They got a hit, and then what they found out was that the water valve to the brine tank wasn't opening and letting water in, so they didn't have brine to go to the regen. And then the other plant that I worked with is the valve didn't shut off,
Okay.
and they overflowed their brine tank. And it all didn't go down the floor drain. It went out the building, surrounded one of their wells. I never did understand why that was put in the well field, but they did.
Well, thanks for that.
Thank
Ted,
you, Ned.
So those, as the systems age, not only on the well side, but on the plant facilities, as they continue to age, it's just gonna take more time, Jason.
Oh, I gotta be out there next week, 'cause I gotta work on quite a few things out there.
Yeah. So,
Yep.
okay.
Well, drive safe. Have a great rest of
Yeah,
your
it's
night.
it's a short drive. This one has. I doing some work for the city of Sylvia as well, and I kinda like these close jobs. Well,
All
anyway,
right. Well,
all
thanks
right.
for coming
All
in.
right, you bet.
Thank you,
We'll
Ned.
see ya.
Thank you, Ned.
Yep.
Any more discussion on the water well testing results?
No.
Council, council? Consent agenda. I'd entertain a motion to approve the regular council meeting of November 18, 2025.
Make a motion to approve regular council meeting minutes November 18th, 2025.
Second.
Motion on the table by Mark Bryant, a second by Aaron Raines. Any more discussion? All in favor? Passes 4-0. Entertain a motion for appropriation ordinance 120225 AP an amount of $555,545.57.
Make a motion to approve appropriation ordinance number 120225 AP in the amount of $555,545.57.
Second.
Got a motion by Mark,
Brian?
and a second by Aaron Raines on the appropriation ordinance. Any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Passes 4-0. Entertain a motion for petty cash in the amount of $383.61.
Make a motion to approve petty cash in the amount of $383.61.
Second.
Motion on the table by Mark Bryant, second by Aaron Raines. Any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Passes 4-0. Brings us to electric department. Curtis.
I don't have any more good news, but I did talk to Bryce with BNSF, the roadmaster. He said we can fix that road, but we have to stay within 10 feet away from the tracks. We can't foul the tracks. So, if we put any kind of gravel on it and cause derailment, it's on us. But if we stay 10 foot away from it, we can do it.
That,
Let's do it.
is that 10 foot on both sides?
He send you that in writing by any chance? Or?
I can get it. Ready for you.
Should we wait?
Well, I mean, I think even just something, the email or something, a
He's supposed to be
confirmation
out. He's
saying-
supposed to be out next week. So.
I'll say it doesn't have to be legal, just an email that we can refer back to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did
He
he?
was kind of skeptic about it at first, and we started talking about crossings and stuff and experience I had and stuff, and he was like, okay. But he was wanting me to track warrant and all kinds of other BS, and I was like, nah, if we don't file the tracks, we don't need it.
Did he have a problem putting rock on it, Curtis?
Just as long as you stay within the tracks.
As long as you stay 10 foot away from the tracks.
He's fine with fixing holes.
He is.
Says he's been trying to fix a couple crossings for a couple years, and he keeps getting shot down. And I think that's more the West Street crossing and what is it? Prairie, yeah. I think he's wanting to fix those two. Other than that, that's it on that. So. Just don't get hit by a train. Don't fall under.
Any questions for Curtis from council? Moving on. Jason, Water and Sewer Department.
Well, as you heard, I need to get salt here pretty soon, so we're gonna try out their new road here pretty good when that truck gets here, so. But I need the okay, I think if I remember right, it was around $6,700 or something like that, that's what it cost, the last load.
And water is taxed or not taxed?
It's getting close, I'm not gonna say it's right now, but I just wanna make sure I have that
Right.
okay. So,
I'd make a motion to get another load of salt for the nitrate plant, not to exceed $7,500.
Second.
Got a motion on the table by Aaron Gleason, a second by Mark Bryant. Any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Passes 4-0.
just trying to get some roads, grade some roads and make everybody happy, so.
Jason, how many signs, speed signs, stop signs, and all that stuff that you're planning on putting on Fifth? Excuse me, Fifth, excuse me.
Well, we have a 30 out there and a 30 out there on the other side. That all depends how many people want out there, I guess.
Okay. All right. I just want
How about one in the middle?
to, yeah, I just wanna make sure
Another
that-
one out there.
I want to make sure everyone knows that there is a speed limit on there, that it's not, Indy 500 on Fifth, so.
Okay. Yep, we can put some more out there.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah. When they get it. What the hell's up there?
Moving on, looks like Mike Sanders is gone.
He's in training this
He's
week.
in training, okay. City clerk, Pam.
Pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Yep.
The grant for Hood Heaven, I talked to the grant manager today. They are starting to release the fund from the federal fund, so we'll be starting that project up here pretty quick. She's working on the bidding documents, and then we'll be advertise and present it to you guys. And then it'll go out for bid, and then we'll have to do just like we did with Fair Street, where we award the bids, and then same process as far as the payment to the contractors and stuff goes. We'll pay the contractors and then submit the reimbursement form, and then they'll reimburse us. So same process on that one.
What, refresh my memory, or I don't even recall at all, what is going in there?
Wyckoff Construction.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
The retail store in front.
Yep, so
okay.
the front part, I believe, will get converted into like apparel stores, like heavy,
Oh, okay.
heavy equipment.
Okay, now,
Parallels,
yeah,
so,
now, and then you mentioned Wyckoff, it's
And then
starting
his
to,
office is in
I'm
the
starting
back.
to, remember some of the stuff, and then now you're triggering a lot of memories of what it is, so great, thank you,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. Other than that, I don't have anything besides my report.
Well, I like these reports, very, as Aaron just said, self-explanatory. Doesn't leave me with a whole lot of questions for you, and believe me, I do try. Thank you.
Moving on, if council, okay, City Attorney Danny.
I don't have anything unless you guys have questions for me.
Is everything finished up now with the church?
No, I need to. I thought about that. Remember that today, but
Okay. Well, let us know next time.
yep, I'm not sure where the last 2 weeks went.
Any questions for Danny from council?
Man,
Moving on, old business, Fifth Street Road Project.
So
I did actually have one question for Danny. Where are we at on as far as representation for anything we need for the Nenasko project? I know we were gonna have that, I guess the Port Authority, but
Mhm.
since you're representing both parties as far as the
right.
rate base or territories go, rate territories, do we need representation for that? Or is that something Gray's gonna talk about?
I'm pretty confident that Greg can represent us. He's pretty knowledgeable as far as that part goes. It seems like it's pretty normal in his line of work to negotiate and know like the ins and outs as far as like legal wise go. But if it makes you feel a little better, we can go.
I would like to
I
have
mean,
somebody
I
from
feel
the
like-
city representing besides Ned, sorry for interrupting.
No, you're good. I think we're probably on the same page. I think it's probably, it's good to go into it in good faith that nothing is gonna be necessary,
Right,
but it would probably be good to have representation be in on that meeting
Mhm.
to know the full story, so that if something were to change in people's attitudes or agreements, that we've protected ourselves, protected the city.
absolutely.
I think it's probably good.
So are you saying we probably should have somebody by, if, let's say if Greg can make it to the next meeting, have this person sit in on that session as well?
I mean, I think it would be a good idea, but I don't know. I'm just one person on the council. So,
No, I
but-
agree, I think it would be a good idea. So, yeah.
So I don't know if you have recommendations or
Uh,
just someone that would be able to just charge their hourly rate to sit in
Yeah,
and be
so-
represented.
You know, generally we had a conflict. John Beverland had hopped in since he'd done stuff before, but since he's representing the Port Authority, I think we kind of wondered about that. My recommendation, I've talked to him, is Brandon Richa out of Kingman. He represents, he's a county council for Kingman. He's got a handful of cities too. I can shoot an email to him and Pam and just say,
Sure.
Pam, here's Brandon's contact info. And if it works, great, and if not, we can get a couple other names for you guys.
Yeah, why don't we get that taken care of? That'd be
Yeah.
good, thank you.
I think hopefully we don't need it and it's just a few hours of consult and we won't actually need to write anything up. And he can review a document or whatever for us and then it's over. But
Yeah.
it feels slightly, I don't know, irresponsible seems like too harsh a word. It just seems like we should have representation.
Never heard this.
We just need to be,
Airheads.
we need to be cautious.
Yeah.
You know, and have representation, so.
I think when I talked to him, as long as you guys are okay with him appearing by Zoom, he's
That's fine with me.
Yeah.
he was comfortable with it.
That'd be fine with me.
Ideally, it'd be that 30 minutes and then reviewing like final documents or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anything else
No.
on the Port Authority? Anything on the street out White?
So Joel will be here on Thursday. There's a couple concerns about the drainage and by White's. I know they're starting to work on it, but it doesn't look quite right, and it might not fix the problem that we're having. So I'll get with Joel when he's here to go over a couple things that I have on my list, and then with that drainage, and then I'll try to get like an estimated time of the project completion. I know that we're going into winter, you know, they're not gonna be able to lay concrete or cure it if it's too cold, so
Let us know what you find out.
yeah,
Yeah.
I really want at least 5th Street open all the way. And if they could get that done and just work on that little strip between 4th and 5th, you know, doesn't matter to me, but
Yeah, so it doesn't see that much traffic.
Yeah.
I don't think that's as big of a deal. It's
Yeah.
still,
so,
Road testing Port Authority extensions.
as far as contract goes on that 5th Street, were they tied to any deadlines or timeline? So what's the,
They're past.
where are we at on that?
oh, we're have plenty of time. It's like, I think
June the 1st, isn't it?
June, sometime in June. I don't know the exact
Well, I
date.
guess
It's
I
the
meant with our
project
contract
deadline.
with Kansas Concrete.
Wasn't it 90 days?
Was there
But I don't know that it
I mean, there was an estimate, but was there anything in the contract that held them to a timeline? Was there
I
anything?
can't remember.
88
then-
days.
I
wasn't it?
think it was just when we got the bids, it was by the June 1st date.
I agree, I
And
think
then
that's
they
what it
gave
was.
an
yeah.
estimated time for completion, but I don't know
I
that we
was just
tied 'em.
curious if there was, and then the other pieces, they're tied to build it as designed, and as designed was not draining into the White's parking lot, I guess. So it needs to be fixed no matter what it does.
Right.
And so
I'll check on that and I'll get back with you. Excuse me. Yeah, the rest, like I said, I am just crunched for time. Like he said, I don't know where the last 2 week went. But
Do you feel like you're a senior back in high school again?
more like final time at college. So,
Moving on, anybody wanna talk about the fountain? Water well testing, we pretty much, I don't know,
Talked about
Yeah,
that.
talked
we got
about
that.
that pretty depth. Port Authority,
Got that?
anything else on it?
No.
Moving on, extension of sewer water mains in West Street,
I'm still gathering informations on that
Okay.
one.
KPNF for the keepers plan.
So is that one.
yeah,
That's on me. I'm just running
It's
behind.
fine.
I don't
It's
think there's
alright.
any timeline on that either.
Yeah.
New business, contract renewal with Axon for
Axon.
body cameras and tasers.
So attached to your package is the quote that Mike has attached for you guys to look at. Like I said on my report, we currently have the agreement with Axon. They're just looking to renew the contract for our body cam.
And how long, does our contract with Axiom last?
7 years.
7 years, so we're at the end of the first 7 years.
No.
No.
No. It's and in 2027. The current contract ends in 2027.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're
They
just,
reach out a little early
oh, okay, gotcha, gotcha.
because Mike had called them about a taser because he received notice that will not be able to get part on it.
Okay. And there's plenty of money in the police department to cover this, or is this coming out of equipment?
Well, it would. I mean, whether you sign a contract with them or not, next year is covered because it's already budgeted in,
Right.
and it's the same amount it would be for next year. If we
This is the same amount.
If we were to sign a new contract with them tonight,
Uh-huh.
next year amount is the same.
Okay, gotcha.
They honor that amount from
Got
the current contract, but the year following that it'll increase about like 17 something. I put it in my report, I think. But we can make it work. That amount's not
Yeah,
too significant to where we can't make it work within the police department's budget.
gotcha,
So-
gotcha.
How is the police department's budget as far as, I mean, we've probably well over budgeted for employee salaries because of the lack of officers. So does that just sit in that budget category, or does it get transferred, or can it be used in other ways? How is
It's
that?
just set in there.
So then does it get transferred at the end of the year? There's nothing we can do with that?
No, because with the new year comes the new budget based on the last year's revenue and taxes that we bring in. So it doesn't get rolled over. It can be transferred. Like it's
Even
outside
within
of
the
it.
budget, even within their budget, even within the police department, it
Yeah.
has to be used on salaries.
Now, the overall budget, let's say if the overall budget for the police department is 200,000, and at the end of the year, their department comes in at like 150. Some of those, like, you can't save the whole $50,000 and transfer into like saving accounts. There's budget authority of how much you can transfer out of each department, and I can't remember what the police department is, and I think the special transfer for the police department for their vehicles and equipment repair and stuff like that is $25,000
From what to what?
from the police department to equipment reserve
Okay.
for the police department.
Okay. I was just gonna say, we should probably be banking some of that salary excess
Now, if
into equipment so that when we need the next vehicle or stuff like this pops up.
if you want to do that when we do budget next summer, we obviously decrease the salary and then increase the amount of transfer, but you guys already approved that scheduled transfer. You know, I'll have to ask auditor if there's a chance of us being able to update that, but it's all depending on where we're coming in at the end of the year as well, so.
Yeah. No, I talked to Mike about this last 2 weeks ago, and
Yeah,
yeah, it sounds like there's not really any other option
no,
as far as our current tasers will be completely out of service next year. So they can't get the cartridges.
And this is right here, the $39,404.93. That is the total.
It's 38 because we don't pay tax.
yeah.
Oh, okay, so
you'll
the
have to take the
38,505?
tax out, yes.
Okay.
Do you need that specifically from each year, or do you just need the
No, just the total amount.
I'd make a motion to approve the Axon quote for body cameras and tasers to be paid over the next 5 years to total an amount of $38,505.11 to follow the payment schedule as listed.
Second.
Motion on the table by Aaron Gleason, second by Aaron Raines. Any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Passes 4-0. Brings us to the last one on the agenda, which is the Christmas bonus for employees.
Wait, do we get a Christmas bonus?
I'll get you a cheesecake
Deal.
or cookies, whichever you prefer.
Chocolate chip cookies. Deal.
So, yep, like I said, I mean, you guys are not obligated to do this. We did it every year. It's totally up to you guys.
You currently get Christmas Day. Is that what you get on?
Yes.
And you're looking, and what, 200, is that, or,
That's the amount that we have been doing the last 2 years.
okay. Well,
Let's just keep it going then.
I don't have a problem with that. I mean, even if if somebody wanted to up it a little bit, I wouldn't have a problem with that either, you know, but that's up to council. I don't know what y'all think.
Well, what do you wanna up it up to?
I know we upped it last year,
No, 2 years.
2 years ago. Cause I know we had been doing 100.
Yeah, it was
We
100.
did 200.
Yeah.
How many
Well, I
employees-
usually
how
go
many-
in $100 increments.
11.
11.
We'll just
Sorry.
do 300.
Sure.
I'm just throwing a number out.
I mean, what's the budget look like? Or, I mean, you're biased because you get to partake in it, but
Yeah.
I mean, where are we at?
As far as, I mean, we can't pay this out of general fund, so it have to be within water and light, which that's a revenue fund, and we are very flexible as far as water and lights go. So
Well, I say $100, and this is the reason why I say it, because you guys work hard.
Yeah.
Generally, everybody, and we're retaining our people, and I think that has to do with management.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you guys are worth it, and that's what I think. I don't know what anybody else thinks.
I agree with you, and I think it really is just a general appreciation, not just from us as council, but from everybody in the community. I think they appreciate, I've spoken to a lot of people that appreciate everything that y'all do. So, I mean,
They
that's
appreciate it, and they don't know what's involved in it,
exactly,
and that's
yeah.
saying a lot.
Yeah,
So-
I'd say that'd be fine, and then let's close on the 26th. That'll be a 4-day weekend.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Let's say do
Yeah.
Friday with the Thursday.
okay, sounds. I just need a motion.
Make a motion. Mike.
Okay, I make a motion to approve employee Christmas bonuses in the amount of $300 each. And do we need to make a separate motion for the
Day off.
day off, or?
No, it could be in the same motion, but I would say for the full-time employee, not all employees.
Okay, yeah, for full-time employees for $300. And to have the office closed on the 26th of December.
Got a motion on the table by Mark Bryant, second by Aaron Gleason. Any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Passes 4-0.
I better get my cookies.
Thank you. What kind? Talk to the cook over there.
That ends the meeting unless you got something else you wanna talk about.
Make a motion to exit our meeting, adjourn, and this
I
evening.
second it.
Motion on the table by Mark Bryant, Aaron Range, second. Any more discussion? All in favor? Passes 4-0. Good night.
Thank you.